Welcome to Equal Entertainment. I'm Tracy E. Gilchrist. Dancing with the Stars has crowned a new winner, but fans are saying Jason Mraz was snubbed big time. Xochitl Gomez and Val Chmerkovskiy are the season 32 winners. Gomez and Chmerkovskiy got a perfect score for their freestyle dance during the finale. Singer Jason Mraz and Daniela Karagach finished in second place after dancing the foxtrot to Frank Sinatra's Fly Me to the Moon. Ariana Madix and Pasha Pashkov finished in third. Fans say Jason Mraz should have won it all, but Mraz was a gracious second-place finisher, thanking fans online for supporting him on his journey. Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs is facing another sexual assault allegation. A new woman is accusing Combs of sex trafficking and sexual violence. She says she was 17 years old at the time. This is the third civil complaint against Combs in recent weeks. Combs calls the allegations sickening and says his accusers are looking for a quick payday. Diddy recently settled a lawsuit with singer Cassie Ventura. She accused him of rape and years of abuse. The Color Purple cast celebrated the LA premiere of the movie with a purple carpet. Among the stars walking the purple carpet, Oprah Winfrey, Halle Bailey, Taraji P. Henson, and Out 100 honoree Coleman Domingo. The musical version of the 1985 movie is being called a bold new take on a new classic. Winfrey, who starred in the original film, is producing this time around. It hits theaters on Christmas Day. The new movie, Poor Things, is getting a lot of Oscar buzz. It's based off of the 1992 book of the same name. The writer for the film is a big reason for the buzz. Tony McNamara, who co-wrote The Favorite, had fun bringing this story of equality and liberation to life.
Well, first I want to congratulate you on Poor Things. It's so good.
Thank you. Thank
Yes. Yeah. Well, I want to begin and ask you, what, if any, awareness did you have of the novel prior to taking on this massive project?
Yeah, I didn't have any awareness, and Alistair's a huge writer in Scotland, very important writer, but I didn't know the book. And then when we were preparing The Favorite, Yorgos, I kind of knew he loved it because he'd been to Scotland and he was texting me from there going, but until he got the rights, he didn't give it to me. And then one day at lunch, he's like, maybe you want to do this. I don't know. See, I'm like, okay. Then I read it and I was like, this thing's crazy. It's insane. It's so, I don't know how I would do it. And I'm like, okay, I bet I'll do it. It's you, we had a great time in The Favorite. We have a really good, easy way of being together and a good, fun, creative process. And so I was just like, if you're in, I'm in. I don't know if I can bring it off, but I'll give it a go. So, yeah.
Well, thank you. And so where do you begin with something so wild? And I mean, it's huge and really wild. So
yeah.
What is that?
Well, I think it was, the book is interesting because there's a lot in the book that isn't about Bella. It's about Scottish nationalism. It's about philosophy. It's like, then that's like a third of the book. And then Bella's story is in the book, but it's not told through her eyes. It's told by all of these other people, Duncan, and you don't really know her. So you never get the internal Bella on that journey. And that was Yorgos's idea. What if we take Bella, and how he was like, how would we put her at the center and make the movie about her? And then that was the challenge for me, is like, okay, let me work out how we would do that. But it meant we could be true to the spirit of the novel, but we could invent a lot of that story, and we could kind of create this satire of control, and we could still have this amazing character at the center of it. So it did feel like a great challenge, but also like that was the way we were going to do it. And then we just stuck to, it's Bella's story. That's what we're telling and nothing else.
Would you talk a little bit about some of those beats in her intellectual development, and then also her sexual journey, which I think is really, there's so much female sexual agency. It's incredible.
Yeah. In terms of the intellectual, I think it was about, she was clearly smart and naturally smart and curious. She had this, like, the pulse at the heart of her character was curiosity, was a deep instinctive curiosity to discover the world. And in discovering the world, she would discover herself. so there was always that. And that became like Duncan giving her, kind of helping with this idea of the philosophy of freedom, of discovering, but it's something he could never live up to. But then it became, meeting Martha and being books. And then it became about, it became like the self. It became separation from the self, separation from Godwin, who's a father figure. And it's like, I need to separate to discover myself, which is everyone has from a parent. And then it became like intellectually, I'm discovering the world, but now there's ideas and there's a broader thing. There's a context of the world, which is I'm privileged and I actually owe the world something beyond just myself. So up until she meets Martha and Jerry Carmichael's character, she's all about herself. And then there's this moment where there are ideas in the world that will carry you in your life, as Martha says, that aren't about sex and they aren't about couples and they aren't about the self. They're about something bigger. And he's like, the world's horrible and you're a privileged monster, and then she's like, what do I do about that? So I think it was always a journey, and then the journey at the end to become a doctor and to kind of return home a completely different creature.
Yeah, thank you for that. And then would you talk about this, also the kind of parallel journey of her sexual voracious?
Yeah, not even like parallel. To me, it was always like, on one level, it's simple genre level, it's a coming of age movie. So it was always like, she's going to have to discover her sexuality because everyone does. And it's a part of us. But she discovered it. And then she would not have our shame. And society's cooks in her about what was right. She was just discovering in a very curious, intuitive way. And because that's the pulse of her character, she's just a discoverer, and she's just like, what's the next thing and what will that bring to me? She would never, that like the intellectual thing, she didn't really judge. She's just like, what is it? And what is my experience of it? So that was important in the same way, she's discovering food. And it's sort of that thing. It was like Emma was saying, that's pleasure. So I want more of that. Yeah. In the same way, Portuguese tarts are pleasure. So I want more of that. And drinking is pleasure. So I want more of that. Until she learns more isn't always more, and there's good in this experience, this sexual experience, but there's also a darker side to it. And there's a not pleasure to it in certain places or people or whatever. So I think it was always a part of something we couldn't honestly tell the story of any human being without them contending with their sexuality if they're going to like develop. And I guess it was a good, in the other part of the movie, I guess this is a satire about control and on some deeper level, male control more than, even though Swiney controls her economically. But there was a kind of like, oh, here's this society, here's this woman moving through the world with agency of her own, with curiosity, with this optimism of discovery. And what the world wants to do is tell her the rules, tell her how she should think, tell her how to use her body, tell her how to like feel about things, which is what we all have to contend with. Yeah. And as human beings in the world. So it was just like, well, here's this good, it's a kind of great idea to have a character who, what if they didn't? And what if we didn't? And what would that be? Would we all just feel a bit fucking better? So if we didn't have people telling us the rules of things. So it was very
Here's something cool for the holidays. The Plaza Hotel in New York is giving Home Alone 2 fans the opportunity to recreate some iconic scenes. The Plaza is offering a special Home Alone package. First, you can channel your inner Kevin McAllister with a 4-hour private limousine ride around the Big Apple. Next, you can enjoy one of Kevin's favorite meals, a cheese pizza. Then you can relax in your extra large bed. And you can also call room service for a 16-scoop sundae. The room also comes with one of those little refrigerators you have to open with a key. You can watch the Advocate channel live by downloading our app in the Apple or Google Play Store. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. For the Advocate channel, I'm Tracy E. Gilchrist, and thank you for watching.